Hello friends, welcome to my channel TJ the Tax Accountant. It's a place where we discuss basics of tax accounting and we also go over some of the resources that are available to us which can make all of our lives easier. So before I start today's presentation, I would request everyone to subscribe to my channel and share the word amongst your friends and colleagues if you like all the content that I'm posting on my channel. So moving on to our today's topic, today we will be discussing some of the best practices that we can all benefit from when we are using Microsoft Excel. As tax accountants, Excel is our bread and butter. It's the single tool that is available to us which provides a lot of solutions to our problems, but then it is also a source of many of our problems as well. So today I will go over some of the pain point areas where we would like to be with our Excel skills, and what are the tools that are available to us that can help us in automate and standardize our Excel workbooks. So talking about the common pain points, so we all struggle with the data source. The key to any data processing is the data itself. So if you don't have a good set of data, then anything that you're trying to build is also not going to be very good. So that's the first challenge which I'm sure everyone faces in their professional lives. The second challenge is the recurring reporting. So in the tax world, you are constantly required to report various metrics related to taxation. It could be your quarter close, your annual close, tax return data, analysis of period over period data, and all kinds of stuff, be in income tax, sales tax, VAT taxes, or however you are handling your taxes and whatever is applicable to your organization. The second pain point is the formatting of data source, as most of us are familiar with the several ERPs that are available in the market today and which are used by your employers and your clients. So the biggest challenge is the data that comes out of these ERP systems is always not very consistent in formatting. There's always a chance of a column being added or a row being added or removed from the reports that we usually use, and that creates a lot of challenge when we are trying to download that data into any of the Excel file. The next pain point is the changes in calculation logics. So what I mean by that is since tax is a law-based area, so we always have changes to the tax laws. So the way you are calculating a number on your Excel file can change every year, or if not every year, then maybe every 2-3 years, depending on the changes in the tax laws. So that also creates some issues when you are trying to achieve automation, or you're trying to carry over your prior year work papers to the next year, and then you have to make sure that the current year work paper includes whatever changes that have been imposed. And then the last pain point that I think is the lack of ability of our work papers to be automated. So there are so many design flaws in some of the worksheets that I have worked upon, which really limits the ability of the user to automate some of the work papers. So moving on to what will a perfect world look like. So in the perfect world, what I believe is your data source will be consistent. You will be using the same system year over year, and the format in which the data is provided to you will stay consistent. The recurring reporting requirement stays the same. We are all in tax and we cannot do anything about it. Consistent format is again something which we can control. So consistent format here means the format in which you are designing your own tax workbooks. So if you can keep their formatting consistent, that can go a long way in creating some of the visualizations out of your Excel files. Flexible logic, all the calculations that you are trying to do in your Excel files, you should design them in a way that you can change them whenever there's a change in the tax law, and all those changes should be designed so that all the data visualization that you are trying to get out of your Excel file can easily adapt those changes in the logic. And then last one is the opportunity to automate. So all your Excel files that you're trying to design should be designed in a way that you can automate the process. So what I mean by automation or automating the process is you can just drop your source data into a folder, go to your Excel file, hit refresh, and you should be good to go. All right, so what can get us there? So some of the key best practices that you can use is you can create a standard data form. So in our work area, we send out a lot of information requests to different colleagues and then expect to get the data from them in the provided Excel files, and then we try to collaborate everything we collect from different sources and then put them together into our different work papers. So the key is to create a standard form for everyone so that you have a consistent format of data when you're trying to collaborate into one file. The other piece is controlling the ability of preparers to make formatting changes. So I have in my experience noticed that the preparers sometimes do not fully understand the data form, and they try to overcome the design of the data form which suits their convenience and makes it easier for them to enter data. So we should design our Excel files with some security features so that they cannot do any formatting changes and are forced to report the data in the way we want them to report the data. And then once again, making your Excel file automation friendly. I cannot insist enough how crucial is it to make your Excel file automation friendly. You will be surprised to see how well it serves us, and you spend less time in preparing and more time in analyzing if your files are automation friendly. So some of the key elements of a successful Excel template: it should be easy to understand and intuitive. So when you are sending information requests to your colleagues or some other controllers in your organization, the data form that you are sending them should be easy to understand for them, because not everyone is fluent in tax laws and tax accounting rules. So it should jump out to them immediately what you are trying to get at. Your data form should always be error-free. There should not be any formula error. So if your provider or your data source preparer is entering numbers into several forms, you should make sure that all the formulas are flowing correctly and there is no error, or and that also helps you to avoid any of the totaling errors and some of the obvious errors that we are all aware can happen in Excel. And then your Excel template should always have the flexibility for any future updates. So if you want to add more data points into your file, it should be designed in a way that it can be included in your existing data form easily, rather than recreating the entire data workbook that you're sending out to the various preparers. So my next thing I want to discuss is some of the tools that are needed for a successful Excel design. So something that I recently learned was the Excel tables. And if instead of just designing some of the columns and rows for someone to enter the data, if you design your data template in a form of a table, it makes it a lot easier for the person to enter the data. and it also makes it a lot easier to retrieve the data from those files. The second point is the control of data customization. So as I previously said, all your Excel files should have some security feature built into it, which can restrict the ability of someone who's preparing the file to make any format changes in the data form. And then standardize all tables. So what I mean by that is you may be requesting different kinds of information which may require you to design your data form in certain way, but the basic format of your data form should be very standard. You can follow like a specific number of columns and rows and keep that consistent, even if some of the columns are not applicable to all of the entities that you're sending it out to, but your data form should always be a standard form. The better way to understand is that if you are filing your tax return, no matter what kind of entity you are or what the scale of your operation is, you all report it on a very standard form. So like all the corporations will have a same kind of form no matter what their size is. All partnership entities will be filling up a standard partnership tax return form. It does not matter what their business is, what the scale of their business is. It's same form for everyone. So that goes a long way in creating a lot of discipline and automation in your Excel workbooks. And then please do watch out for some new videos that I plan to load on my channel. So I'll talk about data visualization. So there are various tools that are available, like Power BI. There are certain tools in Microsoft Excel itself that you can use to create visualization of your data, which comes very handy when you are presenting any data to the senior leadership, because they are not interested in looking at your tables. They are more interested in looking at the trend, which can be easily presented in a data visualization dashboard rather than showing them a bunch of numbers in a table. The other thing I will also post on my channel is something known as structured formulas versus VLOOKUP. So this is something related to creating data tables instead of simple forms that have columns and rows in it. So these structured formulas work very well when you're trying to connect that source data with any of the formulas. So instead of using a VLOOKUP, which is more prone to breakdowns, so the structured formulas are really key to a very successful Excel design. And then I will also talk about some of the data queries that you can write in Excel itself, which can help with you with your automation. So if you design your files properly and if you write a good query, then year over year or period over period, all you need to do is just drop your source files into one folder, go to your Excel file, hit refresh, and then queries will read all the data that is provided, and they can perform all kinds of calculation that you need in your Excel file. So that was all from me for today's presentation. And once again, please do subscribe to my channel, share it amongst your friends and colleagues if you like the content, and do not forget to leave any comments and suggestions regarding what you would like to see on this channel. Thank you.